I was walking by the park the other day, and there was these three little princesses, little angels playing, having a great time. And as kids can often do, they can start boasting about their parents. And one of the girls was like, "My daddy scribbles a few things on a piece of paper, calls it a poem, and they give him $50. The other girl, a little bit cuter probably, "Oh yeah, well, my daddy writes down some words on a little piece of paper. They call it a song, and they give him $100. Last girl puts down her bucket and her shovel and says, "Oh yeah? Well, my daddy scribbles down some words, calls it a sermon, and it takes 8 people to collect all the money." Well, we are continuing our series here, the Harvesting Faith series. Last time, of course, we talked about returning, and today we're going to talk about reconciling. When we stray, last time we talked about straying, we can either stray big time for a long time or maybe just stray momentarily. Sometimes when we do that, we can cause some damage, collateral damage, right? That can certainly happen. And we leave our relationships in a state where things need to be mended, needs to be some healing. If anyone here is familiar with the 12-step program of AA, there's a lot of different kind of 12-step programs out there. I was in Alateen growing up because my dad was in AA, so I was very familiar with the 12-step program. And the first 7 steps of the program are essentially about returning. And then you have step 8, which says, "Made a list of all persons we had harmed, and became willing to make amends to them all." Taking it a step further, has anybody ever done that? Just written down, taken out a piece of paper and a pen and written down all of the people maybe that you have harmed? It's not something we tend to do. Step 9, it says, "Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others." And that's what it means to reconcile. Now, I did a little bit of a head count in here. I think there's about 30 of us in here, and I'm not sure how many people are watching online, but what I have noticed is that where 2 or more are gathered, there's bound to be there's an opportunity. We'll put it that way. There's an opportunity for there to be some sort of disharmony. So it doesn't take that many people. Just 2 people is all it takes to have some disharmony. And the road to recovery it can be a long process. This road of returning and reconciliation can at times be very difficult. Can often even leave injured parties angry and resentful, so much that in some extreme cases, the offended person may even try to take legal action to try to settle the dispute. Our scripture today is from the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus is talking about the heart, attitudes, and the motives that underpin murder. He says that if you're even angry with somebody, it's like murder. And he goes on to paint a picture of people calling each other names and debasing one another and dragging people's reputation down. Truly a really nasty scene. And in Matthew chapter 5, we have in verse 23, "Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, and then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, You will not get out until you have paid the last penny. In other words, it may cost you a lot more than you can afford. I used to think that these verses meant that if you had a problem with somebody, or if you had an attitude with somebody, that you should hold off on taking communion, that you should just wait and take communion until you go and you sort of confess your attitude with this person and get that resolved. But I'm not quite so sure that that's exactly what it means. I think what it's actually saying is that if you're about to make an offering, because it says if you go and to bring a gift to the altar, if you're about to make an offering and you're about to put something in the collection plate, stop. Think about it for a second. And think, not am I angry with somebody else, not am I upset or do I have an attitude with somebody else, but to think, is there anybody that I've offended? Is there anybody who may possibly have an attitude with me, who might be angry at me because of whatever? Maybe I've wandered, maybe I've strayed, and I've come back and I've done some damage. Is there anyone for any reason that might be upset with you? Now, I don't think very many churches will say this, right? Because everybody wants to keep their budget, right? Everybody, we got these budgets to keep to. It's not how, you just won't hear that very often. Oh, you have a problem with somebody? Don't give your offering. But here, Jesus makes it very clear that being reconciled with your brother or sister is more important and a more urgent matter than giving an offering. Giving offerings can often, I think, sort of assuage or sort of settle our guilt. If we have any kind of guilty feelings, sometimes we just want to give an offering. For example, I'm not sure if anybody's ever seen a homeless person. I used to work downtown Chicago. You see homeless people all over the place, and you just want to give them money because you have this feeling like you feel bad, that they're in the situation that they're in, and you want to do something, so you offer money. And I think the same thing can happen to us spiritually when we are in situations, we have conflict with other people, and we might feel like, well, let me just give my offering. That will make me feel better. Let me go to church and kind of go through all the motions, take my communion, give my offering, hear the word preached, say my prayers, and then everything is going to be all right. This is kind of similar to, if you're familiar with this ungodly practice that the Pharisees had, which Jesus challenged in Matthew 15, where the priests were accepting money that should have gone to helping people's parents. And they would accept that as a gift to God. So basically they were saying, hey, instead of using this money to do what you're supposed to do and support your parents, just give the money to us, to the church, and that'll be your duty to God. So instead of doing the right thing, but the decidedly more difficult thing, people were told they could fulfill the requirements of the law by simply giving a financial gift to the synagogue. But this scripture tells us, don't worry. The synagogue will still be there for you. Leave the gift, go be and reconciled. There's still going to be an altar when you get back. It's not going to go anywhere, but your brother or sister who you have offended, that might be a different story. They might not be there for you when you get back. If we think, hey, as long as everything is all right between me and God, that's all that really matters, the Bible says that anyone who does not love his brother, who they do see, you can't love God who you don't see. And then the Apostle Paul emphasizes this in his letter to the Romans, where he says, love must be sincere. There was a time, about 15 years ago, I was part of an organization. I'll just call it an organization. It was a church. Where there were some really crazy things going on. There was a lot of abuse in relationships. There was a lot of abuse of power. And this had gone on for decades until somebody stood up and spoke up about it. And this was not just an individual church. This was like a worldwide thing that was going on. And somebody kind of rocked the boat and shook things up. And what ended up happening was that a lot of the leaders had to step up and take responsibility for a lot of the pain and that they had caused, a lot of harm they had caused in the relationships. And one of the things that had happened was you got a lot of people saying, hey, if I've hurt you in any way, I'm sorry, I apologize. And I even said that to a lot of people. If there's anything I've done, I apologize. Which, it's a step, and it kind of sounds nice, but what you're saying when you say that is, I don't really know what I've done. I'm not very aware of any specific things that I may have done to harm you, which means you're kind of out of touch, a little bit insensitive. It's not super helpful. This saying, it doesn't help to just randomly apologize if you don't even know what you're apologizing for. How will there ever be any real change, any real healing or reconciliation if people don't take responsibility for the specific ways that they've caused pain, damage, or trauma? Reconciliation, like I said, is a very difficult process, and it takes a tremendous amount of humility. And what's interesting is people will often say that they have a problem with the church, right? You've probably heard that. And as a result, a lot of people leave the church. But a person doesn't just quit a job, right? They quit working with their bosses. They quit working with their coworkers. It's their specific people that they have a problem with. That's why they leave. It's the same thing with church. We know that if we don't resolve our issues in one place, those issues are just going to follow us to the next place that we go, the next job, the next church, the next relationship that you land in. Those problems are going to keep coming up until we deal with them. Now, it's not only the big problems that we need to deal with, it's the little ones too. It's those little, I think, what is it, Ecclesiastes maybe calls them the little foxes. Those little foxes, they're tricky. And sometimes we can just kind of brush over them. What's interesting is, it's actually kind of, that's not funny, but it is funny. Yesterday, I was preparing my sermon, and my wife asked me, when you get a minute, can I get your help with something? I said, well, there's really no end to, preparing a sermon. I was even writing things in the pew here. So I was like, okay, I'll just go now. I'll help you now. And so I went to help her, and there was she wanted me to help move a table, and there was just kind of some things going on between us. I had a concern about one particular thing, and she didn't really care about it, and I was just getting frustrated, and I finally ended up just kind of blurting something out and walking away. And I felt it, and I was like, man, I'm writing a sermon on reconciliation. I can't let this go. Oh my gosh. So I went and apologized. And I felt great. But it was a little thing. And she even said, oh, she wasn't aware of the spirit that I had. She was in her own world about it. So it's just kind of funny. But I think about these issues, these little issues, as kind of like doing the dishes. It's really nice when you don't have any dirty dishes. You got all the dishes clean. It's nice. But then somebody comes in and they throw like a fork in the sink, right? And like, it's a fork. I'm not going to wash a fork. But those things pile up, don't they? And these little issues, these little rifts that we have with one another can build up, can pile up until they become mamas and papas. If we've caused a rift, we need to own our specific responsibility and seek to make amends. We can't leave it up to the other person to seek us out if they feel like they need it. We can't just do that. We need to make sure that we are there for them. If we've wronged someone or have offended someone, oftentimes it's because we were being a bully. Or maybe we come across as a bully to that person. Maybe we're being a bully. Maybe that's not our normal place, but maybe for that one moment, at that one time, we were being a bully. And that's how we came across. And then the question is, are we approachable? Are we humble? Do we have a reputation as someone who is safe to be open with? Or do they need an intermediary? Do we make them feel like they need an attorney just to have a civil conversation with us? One thing that can also inhibit people from approaching us is if they know that we are a gossip, that we can tend to be a gossip. Do we talk about people behind their back in a less than positive way? Is that our reputation? If so, then why would anyone ever trust us to try to resolve a conflict with us? On the other hand, if someone has hurt us, we need to take responsibility in love, and approach that person to seek reconciliation. The Bible tells us that if we have a problem with somebody, take it to that person. Don't take it to somebody else. Don't go around and talking, hey, I just want to get your input. I was talking to so-and-so, and boy, they said some crazy things, and I just want to make sure I'm not off of my rocker here. Is this person really crazy, or is it me? Has anybody, you ever been there? I've done that. Like, instead of just going to the person, I get somebody else involved and sort of subtly, make it look like, I'm trying to make sure I'm, doing the right thing. I want to get some advice before I approach this person, which may not always be a bad idea, but it's who you get advice from, and it's why you're getting advice from that person. Is it to just kind of spread slander about this other person, or do you say, you know what? Just asking for a friend kind of a thing. There's an individual, I'm not going to name any names, but there's somebody who I'm having a bit of a problem with. Here's the situation. Here's how I'm thinking about handling it. What do you think about how I'm thinking about handling it? Instead of just putting all of the weight of trying to, how do I deal with this on somebody else? Oh, no, I think that's a great idea, what you're doing, but here, have you considered this? Oh, yeah, great. That kind of stuff is great, but spreading slander is not helpful. We are our brother's keeper. But you say, but it's complicated. Yeah, relationships are complicated. Welcome to that club. Welcome to the relationship club. When is the right time? When is the right time, the best time? It never seems like there's a best time or a right time. Sometimes we wait for that perfect opportunity or that perfect moment to approach somebody and try to reconcile. There's never an easy time for that. It's now or never, baby. That's what Jesus was said, be urgent about it. You don't wait. You can't wait. While we're still on the way is what Jesus said. Paul wrote in Ephesians, don't let the sun go down on you while you're still angry. Don't let it last more than a day. Amen. May God grant us strength, courage, and perseverance to reconcile with those with whom we need to reconcile.